Hey guys and gals, Gorgeous Greg back with you on another video, I guess you can call it. It's April 6th. It's WrestleMania 30 Sunday. In less than 30 minutes, the 2-hour pre-WrestleMania show goes live, so I'm going to make a short and sweet video. I thought, and I went on Facebook. If you're friends with me on Facebook, you've already seen the post where I wanted to see if anybody actually wanted to see this video, but I want to do a rundown of what I thought of last night's 2014 WWE Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I got some mixed thoughts, but I'm definitely going to let you know what I thought about it. And I think, and it was the first time ever in its entirety that the Hall of Fame had been televised. So I thought that was really interesting and definitely exciting for me. But I think what we'll do first, let me go ahead and give you the individuals that were inducted last night, and then we'll give you a rundown of what I thought of their speeches and who inducted them. First of all, you had, of course, the Ultimate Warrior. He was inducted. You had Razor Ramon. You got Jake the Snake Roberts. You got Paul Bearer. Oh, yeah, Undertaker. And then you got Lita, Amy Dumas. You had Carlos Colon. And you also had Mr. T. So that was your inductees. So let's look right into it. The first one to be inducted was none other than the former Divas champion, Lita. Now, she was introduced by Trish Stratus, who was inducted in the Hall of Fame last year, 2013. And I'm kind of mixed on this because I'm not sold on Lita being in the WWE Hall of Fame. I know that she was a unique individual. I know she was a great ring performer, but for me, was she Hall of Fame material? I don't think so. But anyways, I mean, Trish gave a nice little speech for her, and then Lita came out, and I'm going to be completely honest with you, gave one of the most boring speeches I've ever heard during a WWE Hall of Fame. I was so out of it. I'm literally looking at my watch going, and I don't wear a watch, but a mental watch, thinking, how long is this going to go on? And it seemed like her speech was 40 minutes of nothing but her talking about how she got started and just stories like that I really didn't care to hear about. But so yeah, she definitely got yawner speech of the night for sure for me. So, you know, that was Lita's speech. Next to be inducted, and I'm trying to remember in my mind who was the very next, because looking at the inductees, I can't remember. There was two of them. I can't remember which one was first. It was definitely, as I'm looking through the list of who was inducted, it was definitely, I think, and it may not be, so forgive me if this wasn't the exact order. But anyways, I want to look at the next one, and Diamond Dallas Page. Mr. Bam! You got to remember Diamond Dallas Page from WCW days. Well, Diamond Dallas Page introduced the next inductee to the 2014 Hall of Fame, and it was none other than Jake the Snake Roberts. Now, Diamond Dallas Page done a pretty decent speech for Jake the Snake, but it felt like to me he was praising himself more than he should have been, that it should be more about the inductee, who was Jake the Snake. But needless to say, he did have a couple funny stories. And then Jake the Snake comes out, and oh my God, I have always been a fan of Jake the Snake. I thought he was so unique, and I loved the whole angle with the snake, and who can ever forget the pay-per-view match with Jake the Snake and not Razor Ramon, but Jake the Snake and Randy Macho Man Savage, and Jake the Snake brought the Cobra out, and the Cobra's biting Randy Savage, and the turmoil that took place after that. What a great match that was. But I'm going to be honest, man, Jake the Snake stole WrestleMania's WWE Hall of Fame last night. What a perfect speech. So heartwarming, so touching, that I was so thrilled for Jake. Jake has been through so much in his life and he's not ashamed to say it. He's ashamed of it, but not ashamed to talk about it. And that's with the drugs and the cheating and different things that's going on in his life. And he completely blames himself for that. So this is where I give Diamond Dallas Page credit. Diamond Dallas Page literally took Jake the Snake in at the perfect moment and literally saved Jake's life. I mean, Jake would probably not be with us today had it not been for DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, reaching out to him and helping him. So I give DDP all kinds of credit for that. But the speech that Jake the Snake gave was so inspiring. It was so unique, and I loved it. And I hope that the wrestlers, the professional wrestlers that was in the crowd last night, and those that may be watching that are inspiring to be wrestlers, listen to that speech and absorb it and understand what he was saying. It was so dead on to the profession of wrestling. The ins and outs, the goods and the bads, weigh it out, weigh your options. If you're going to be in the business, you got to learn to separate business from personal, and there's got to be a happy medium. And Jake the Snake, man, just wonderful speech. So, man, he definitely had speech of the night. Loved the Jake the Snake one. Then we go into, I'm not sure the order once again, but I'm going to go to Mean Gene Okerlund, who was so, man, iconic in his right. And I love Mean Gene Okerlund. But Mean Gene Okerlund introduced none other than Mr. T. Well, first the son of Mr. T come out, and then Mr. T. But anyways, Mr. T comes out. Now, Mr. T has been noted as helping put WWE on the map from WrestleMania 1 because he brought in the celebrity side of wrestling when there really wasn't one. So he was able to make WWE at the time, back at WrestleMania 1, broad streamed with the media. So they were able to get on, your CBS's and your local stations and just everything that normally wouldn't have took place. So Mr. T does deserve credit for that, even though I do not personally like him. But anyways, he comes out with his speech. And I'm going to be honest, I love my mama. That's all I got to say. He spoke, I don't know how long, but he got to talking about, he loved his mama, and he was basically preaching. I mean, he's talking Bible, he's talking about his mama, and even the crowd gets behind it, love my mama, love my mama. Well, it went on for so long that eventually music comes on, and Kane has to come out and escort Mr. T off because time had ran so long. And I'll be honest with you, if Kane had not come out, Mr. T would probably still be on the mic talking about he loves his mama. So it was hilarious. And then the stuff that took place afterwards, it seemed like each inductee and each individual that was actually bringing the people in had said something about mama because of that speech. So, woo, Mr. T definitely had weird speech of the night, for sure. But then we go into the next inductee who was brought in, and I thought this was fitting that this individual introduced this individual. And it was none other than Diesel, Kevin Nash, introducing his buddy, his friend, his comrade, Razor Ramon. Now, what a time. I mean, Kevin Nash done a decent speech once again. Most of the ones that were introducing him were okay. But when Kevin Hall come out, a.k.a., or, Scott Hall, not Kevin Hall, but when Scott Hall come out, a.k.a. Razor Ramon, he looked better. I've seen him recently, and I say recently, within the last couple of years, and he really had let himself go. He had been addicted to pain pills and a lot of things going on in his life. And once again, DDP stepped out and has helped Razor Ramon tremendously. So another praise out and a shout out to DDP for that. But Razor really looked good last night. And I loved his speech. He was doing his talking. He was, talking about the individuals like Shawn Michaels and different ones that helped him through his journey. So it was a decent speech. But then the music comes on right in the middle of the speech, and he's looking around like, am I being cut off? What's going on? And then you see none other than Kevin Nash, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, X-Pac himself, The Click come out, and then there's a nice little reunion there, and then they're off. Now, I would have thought and I would have liked, after seeing Lita and Mr. T blow 45 minutes at least each on a mic about really nothing. I would have liked to have heard Scott Hall have a little bit more, or Razor Ramon have a little bit more time on the mic, because I would have liked to have heard more of his story, but it was cut short, unfortunately. But it was still good from what I heard, you know, from what he said. It was okay. He wasn't finished, and I hated that they cut him off like they did. That should have never happened. If you're going to cut anybody off, you got to cut it off at a certain time limit. Don't let one go an hour and the other one only get 10 minutes. That's not fair to me. I was upset with that. I'd like to kept hearing Scott Hall or Razor Ramon and see what else would have been said. But with that, you know, is what it is. Then you go into the next inductee, who was Paul Bearer. Now, Kane's music comes on and Kane comes out. I've got a bad problem with this. I love Paul Bearer. He meant so much to The Undertaker, so much to the WWE universe. Basically, him and The Undertaker were hand in hand. There wasn't one without the other. I thought The Undertaker should have been the one to introduce Paul Bearer into the Hall of Fame, but it was Kane. I get over it. Kane done a nice speech. He's good with memory because he didn't read off cue cards. He's off of memory, talking about, you know, Paul Bearer's life before WWE, and that would have been in the WCCW and different ones where he was Percival Pringle the Third. I always called him Percy Pringle, but you know, he gave a good speech. And then you see Undertaker come out, and the music and the smoke and the urn and the whole 9 yards. And then it only lasts a few seconds, and then it's cut off and goes to a promo, and I'm like, what the hell was that? Why is not the Undertaker speaking on behalf of Paul Bearer? That was a disappointing speech of the night for me. I would have felt like, and his two sons did come out, and then the Undertaker, I take it back. So the two sons, but they were very short, within, you know, a few seconds. So I would have liked the Undertaker had spoke some about, you know, Paul Bearer and what he meant to him. So that was kind of disappointing. So he's definitely got disappointing speech of the night was for the Paul Bearer. And then we go into Carlos Colon. Now, Carlos Colon is one, if you're not familiar with old school wrestling, and I'm talking from the 60s, 70s, 80s, you know, Carlos Colon had numerous battles with individuals like Abdul the Butcher, with individuals like Ric Flair and Jimmy Superfly Snuka, and you can go down the line. But it was really before mainstream TV, so a lot of individuals that are not hardcore wrestling fans would not know who Carlos Colon is. But he definitely deserved to be in the WWE Hall of Fame. And the ones to introduce him was his three sons, and you'll know them from a few years ago on WWE, none other than Primo, if you remember the tag team, and his other son, Carlito, who used to I spit in the face with the apple Carlito. Now, you always get this in a Hall of Fame induction. You have that one individual that's bitter. Carlito is very bitter against the WWE. And he gave a few pop shots to Vince McMahon in the WWE world. But I think Vince probably just went and shook it off like, you know, whatever. To me, I personally feel this way about Hall of Fame speeches. If you're a former employee of a company and you've been let go or whatever reason, don't come back and take pop shots. That's so, you know, don't burn your bridges. This is not about you, Carlito. This was about your father being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Don't take pop shots because you're not employed by the company no more. Grow up, kid. Cut your hair. Look like a man and be a man and grow up and induct your father into the Hall of Fame and let it be. But that's my 2 cents on that. But then Carlos Colon come out, gave a pretty good speech. Half of it was in English, and then he done the remainder of his speech in his native tongue of Puerto Rican. From Puerto Rico is where he's from. So it was a good speech. I enjoyed it. Looks like his kids are maybe coming up into the profession as well. You know, his I guess daughters. But anyways, that was a decent speech. But for the night, it closed out with none other than the Ultimate Warrior. Can you feel it, my Warrior fans? Look in the hand, feel the power. the whole 9 yards, and I just dropped my mouse because of the power in my hand. But anyways, the Ultimate Warrior. And this is the one, I was talking the whole night. We was chatting back and forth with my great friend Justin Bean. What's up, Justin? You my buddy, pal. And we had a great time during this whole Hall of Fame induction, going back and forth, talking and whatnot. But this was the one that we was really excited about because so many people were worried about the Ultimate Warrior's speech, because the Ultimate Warrior is very opinionated. He is very open-minded. He speaks his piece and doesn't care what you think about it. So there was a lot of nervous people, I'm sure, in that crowd and even backstage on what is the Ultimate Warrior going to actually talk about. And needless to say, Linda McMahon inducted or introducing the Ultimate Warrior into the 2004 WWE Hall of Fame. Now that was, according to Linda, that the Ultimate Warrior actually contacted her and wanted her to induct him. Now she gave a great speech. She introduced him properly. I like that. And then the Ultimate Warrior comes out, and the first thing he does is look over to his wife, and after the crowd is going nuts and there's one more match going on, and he continuously said no more match. But anyways, after all that, he looks over to his wife and gives her good praise, talking about how he loved her, and then she immediately starts crying, and then the mother's there and the 2 daughters. So that was really touching. And then the Ultimate Warrior just goes in Ultimate Warrior fashion. It's a animated speech. It's very up and down. It's very all over the place, because the Ultimate Warrior, he's mental, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. But he did have some great moments in that speech. But when it was all said and done, the one thing that he never really talked a whole lot about, but he definitely tiptoed around, was the hurt feelings that he had on the DVD of his story that was released several years ago, and how it was not what he felt his true life story, and that how he was bashed. And so many people were worried about his speech because they felt like he was going to be coming out shooting bullets. But he didn't. He held his tongue. And that was one thing myself and Justin Bean talked about online last night after the speech, was what did we think about it. And as I had mentioned to him, I said it was good, but I felt like he held his tongue. And that's what Justin felt too. I think the reason being for that is the Ultimate Warrior during his speech mentioned that he had just signed a multi-year deal with the WWE. So I really think that, professionally, sometimes you got to suck it up. You're working for somebody, whether you like them or not. They're putting food on your table. They're feeding your family. And sometimes you got to let bygones be bygones. I think that's what the Ultimate Warrior did last night. He was able to throw pop shots at individuals, but he wasn't doing it in a way that was naming people out and necessarily blaming them and embarrassing them. But I'm sure if they were in the crowd, and they were, that they knew who he was talking about. So he got his shots in without having to call a name out. So Ultimate Warrior definitely had the energizing speech that went on, it seemed like forever. But that was okay because I liked it. And it was all over the place. But that's okay because that's the Ultimate Warrior. He's in 100 miles an hour and he's out 100 miles an hour. So it was really good to see the Ultimate Warrior there last night. So that was your WWE 2014 Hall of Fame rundown. Like I said, mixed emotions on it. But as I'm looking at my clock right now, it is now time for the WWE 2-hour live pre-show. So I'm ending this recording right now, and I'm going to go get me some WrestleMania 30 on. So thank you for listening. Be sure to comment below, throw your thumbs up if you like it, and share it all across the world. And let's watch WrestleMania 30.